Not yet, but there's always a first time for everything, guys, as the old phrase goes. But it probably won't happen today. I think I'm with you there. And for North Texas, the kickoff has already started, and Lucia is going to kick it off. But how do Nebraska fight through this North Texas line? Or really, how does the game develop for them? Too fast, booming it downfield again. First 30 seconds. Starting to lean nowhere. Sarge will get the next boomer downfield.
Here's D-Bank with that carry. Wants to play it out. Too fast, though, with that extra jump, so now no one in the midfield. Has to play defense and a big rush from Sarge, but North Texas able to hold on. They got to make sure not to get too antsy here to start things off, because you can tell, I've been talking a lot about North Texas, but Nebraska's looking to get on the board here, too. And if there's any day to do so, it's today. Maybe a chance there, open net, but a bump happens on the play, and there's no one to shoot.
God, Chanos ended up bumping his teammate, but Sarge comes down from the top rope, and Nebraska are the first to strike blood.
There you go from Sarge. Look at that, off the ceiling. Just wants to smoothly carry that one in. No dodge necessary. Here we go. There's, like we said, we talk about these kind of upset days, and if this one's going to stay on track, it starts here with Nebraska getting on the board first.
Yeah, I love the confidence on the rotation for Nebraska. It's like, you got the boost. It's like you have control of the ball. Heck yeah, challenge that right in front of the box. Challenge it on the third. Or D-Bank will put in a double tap, the harbinger of destruction, North Texas.
D-Bank with the double. Reads this one perfectly. And I mean, that's a tight angle to hit, Jorby. North Texas able to respond fairly quickly here to equalize.
Yeah, D-Bank's been rocking this harbinger consistently now. I think I remember him saying in a Discord at some point, he's like, I think I'm maining harbinger now. This car feels great. I haven't used it much myself, but clearly working for him.
Yeah, no, not, I'll be honest, it's not for me. It looks like a oversized Merc.
It's a hunky boy, for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's chunky. It's not for me, obviously. Octane boy, but yeah. If it works for him.
But I'll give it this, too. The animation makes it feel light in the air. So the lightest hunky boy you've ever seen and the widest open net that you've seen today. Too fast, easy tip it.
And, I mean, Too Fast starts off with a really solid 50. And the ball bounces out. There's no one home, so all it is just an easy pass from Lucio to Too Fast. Too Fast able to clean things up, but he opens that play up to begin with that low challenge.
In a day that has truly encompassed any given day, Nebraska, even in a quick deficit already, look how poised on offense. And another quick challenge, from Chanos. Chanos especially has had a really good mind on the challenges on offense. And North Texas starting to respect Nebraska's ability to challenge the ball with confidence in the offensive half.
Oh, no way.
No. Oh, no.
That is unfortunate.
No.
You pull that word up in the dictionary and then play this. Oh, that's just such... the touch on the defense ends up redirecting that in for those who probably didn't see how fast that ended up happening. But just a poor mistouch by Nebraska, and they score on their own end. Now, 2. Did I say 2? I meant 3. A 3-goal lead for North Texas off the goal from D-Bank.
Well, it's starting to get out of hand for Nebraska now. Sarge started things off pretty quickly, but everyone's just a little too far off the ball where I think that first touch, the first defender was expecting a roll or expecting a carry, but instead that quick pop off the ceiling made it so that he was just a little too far back, and there was really no chance to respond to it. Halfway through, a 3-goal lead always feels like a tall task in Nebraska. After that initial jolt of energy, Daz, it's all falling apart for him. D-Bank picks up the Hattie.
There you go. Like you said, 3 for 3 here from D-Bank. And I believe, actually, all of North Texas, there's only one shot they've taken that hasn't gone in. It was from Too Fast. He's 1 for 2 right now. But they've been shooting lights out here. And Nebraska, you talked about it a little bit where you say, this team started off so well, that jolt I think that's a great way to describe it, the jolt of offensive energy, because it was only for a certain amount of time. Then once you start to see how shaky they were on defense, North Texas saw that as well, and they just completely capitalized at every single moment they could. And also, it didn't look like Nebraska were able to kind of regain or reset from that. So far this game one, all North Texas, as they've been all over Nebraska.
A nice carry, though, from Sarge. That's been a couple of good carries. They pick up a goal here. And, like, this came off of an initial counterattack where they, it got cleared out downfield, but all of North Texas were still so far back. And that's just, it's just a great carry from Sarge. There really isn't anything complicated about it. Beats the one defender that he has to in midfield. And maybe you can't, sniff past Nebraska after game one, but I like how they're approaching the ball despite, being down 1-5. This is kind of the time to go through those progressions in the first game. You can usually get those jitters out.
And that's exactly what they want to do. This might be another open net. Demo, pass mid, no one there. Channels doesn't commit. That one did come across really fast. I think he was waiting for a lighter touch. But man, that would have potentially put this game in reach. Now they got to play defense as North Texas are trying to push up.
A little slow to the ball. That's going to be high off the backboard, and no shot just yet. Nebraska have been able to hold. We thought if they got that goal about 30 seconds earlier, you might really be talking about comeback territory. But North Texas have killed a lot of time off the clock here, and you're talking in improbable mode for Nebraska. So you start looking towards game two. So Daz, I'll just ask you the pointed question. I mean, what's the one lacking aspect for Nebraska as they almost get their third goal?
I think for them, it was at the start of this game where it was the defense. Now you're seeing the offense open up, and Channels will pick up another goal. They've had quite the opportunities, though, in the last couple of minutes where they have caught North Texas out. This time, they force a hole, and Channels takes advantage.
Yeah, the demo on net definitely helping pave the way on that last one, but it was just another series of good challenges. I like Nebraska when they have control in midfield, or they have some good counterattacks. Like, I actually think in every phase of the game, Nebraska have some good looks. It's just the consistency behind it. North Texas, I think, have been a bit better at adjusting within the game itself. But, I mean, I might have to retract that statement if Nebraska get a fourth goal here, because they've been able to adjust just as well. Here comes Sarge. Does he find the goal? Oh, Arjo does it, and we might have a comeback.
Wow, Sarge bringing this one up. Touch out, and Argo pushing through. I called him Argo. Aggro pushing through.
Oh, man.
8 seconds left, though. Nebraska have this, I mean, just by a small arm stretch.
Well, they're on offense. Sarge tries to get any sort of power, and Channels was just staying a little too far off the ball. So North Texas squeaked by with the game one victory, but it should have been a lot more dominant than it was.
Yeah, if anything, I'm concerned if I'm North Texas here. They ended up with a 4-goal lead and almost dropped a 4-goal lead. I mean, they didn't put on any more offense. After they got their 5th goal, they were kind of playing from behind. Nebraska actually, if they had scored most of their clear opportunities, they probably could have took this game.
Yeah,
so
I really
going
think
into game two, I think that Nebraska may make this one much closer than the last, and North Texas, they're going to have to clean up their act quickly.
I think you keep looking at Sarge. Sarge has been playing a solid first man, a very disruptive first man, making good challenges and putting them in spots that make things awkward for North Texas. I think Channels has also had a solid challenge game as well. So maybe it does come down, if you could force North Texas into, the challenge ball game, I don't even know what that phrase is, but you know what I mean, then they might actually be able to contend for the length of this series. But it seems to be following the course of the rest of today, Daz. This is anyone's game. Game number 2 underway.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, right? Playing that 50-50 game where you bring the ball up, you keep it close to you, and you force them to bring a defender up to challenge you. That kind of pulls them out. It forces someone to come out because now you have to be able to play based off that reaction, who's winning the challenge. And if you're not prepared for that, then you could be caught out. Or, you could end up pulling out your defense, and all it takes is one strong challenge, and the ball is in your net. So I think that is where we're starting to see that excel or for Nebraska, you know, something that they can excel in, because North Texas hasn't been able to respond to that really well, at least.
I mean, Nebraska have been winning 50s as we've been talking about it too. I think that beyond, you know, when you talk about another aspect, which is the passing game, it's been fairly absent for Nebraska when you get beyond the midfield line. That's where those 50s have been really crucial for them. Even there, I mean, D-Bank just holding on to the ball for a little too long there. Sarge off the ceiling, had the read, but just couldn't get back to the ball in time. And Lucia will have the save and gets the ball out. North Texas, historically, typically start the game pretty slow, but game one was anything but slow. Lucia puts it in, and chaos on the backboard. Nobody on Nebraska could find the ball.
And it's just this moment, right when you see Aggro doesn't have the ball, Lucia picks this up. And I mean, he has to hit that one over Sarge, who's diving to try to make that save. North Texas able to start this off with the lead, but they had the lead in game one. They had a very large lead, I should say, in game one. And they still ended up almost dropping that. So Nebraska's still in this for the conversation. Plenty of time left with 3:20 on the clock.
Well, Sarge does find a pass over to Channels, and it's going to be knocked away by D-Bank, but Nebraska never let their foot off the gas. D-Bank wins one challenge, but out of boost, he'll bump Argo out of the way, and that ball will be played out to the side, but it's still going to be too fast. Doesn't quite get the ceiling like he was hoping for, and it's going to be knocked away by Sarge, but closing the gap, D-Bank just misses the net. Argo looking for another clear. Nebraska feeling a lot of pressure, but Sarge winning a massive 50 in midfield.
See, this is how I know I passed it on when Jordan starts calling him Argo.
Oh, no.
You know, that's my fault. I've been taking L's today. But Sarge looking at how he almost was able to get that off that back corner. That would have been very big there, as Nebraska had a good counterattack. You're starting to see North Texas push downfield, and they are getting, I'd say, a little overzealous, so to speak. And that overextension has been kind of costing them. It cost them 2 or 3 goals in game one. And they don't have two or three goals to give, Jorby. They only have one that's keeping them in the lead right now. So if Nebraska can wait for that opportunity, pull out North Texas, and send it the other way, we could see a tied-up game here very soon.
It comes down to another potential clear, but that pinch was blocked out. North Texas have held midfield, and it will turn into a goal. D-Bank converts again for North Texas, and Nebraska's deficit gets a little bit bigger.
And this one, you know, that's all Aggro. He was caught out. And he has all the time in the world there. There's no one challenging him, but he just gives it right up to North Texas. And, I mean, it's just an easy open net play for them.
You know, I look at Aggro's name, and I think what I'm always thinking of is Argon. You know the element? Argon. Yeah. And so, like, my brain just automatically defaults to that. So, never again, though. Aggro.
Yeah, for me, it was Sarge. It was a Sarge all spaced out, and then...
Yeah.
But it happens. It happens.
I mean, you know, that could be Surge for other reasons. Your brain could mix that one up. But we only got one wrong today. Or I only got one wrong. Nice challenge by Chanos.
Now Nebraska looking again to try to turn things around. They're down by 2, but they could create something here. They have the offensive pressure, and they are not also making it easy for North Texas to move downfield. This has been a more on the ground play, but what in the world? An explosion of speed there for Lucio.
Yeah, just barrels downfield too fast, turns off ball cam, says, see you later, Chanos. Absolutely headhunting for another goal. And this one seems to be getting to insurmountable territory for Nebraska. While they did score 3 goals within a minute, I think North Texas look a little different here. Their clears have been harder to handle for Nebraska when they do get on offense, and past the midfield line, Nebraska just haven't been able to hang on to the ball. But the shot differential is only +1 in North Texas's favor, 6-5. So I mean, it hasn't been anything too crazy. The difference is just efficiency for North Texas.
And I do think that, you know, North Texas has been cleaning up things, especially in terms of rotation here. Nebraska hasn't had that many clean opportunities, and they have been trying to push through, but North Texas has done a great job, I'd say, this game of just getting back on defense as they look to set up more offense. D-Bank shot, and it goes in. And UNT up by 4 with 30 seconds left.
Oh, the mean green again, and Lucia just caught the ball and absolutely destroyed the only guy who tried to get into that, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Second and third man needed a little bit of time. They just needed a touch in midfield. They didn't get it, and now Nebraska are looking at game point or match point rather, and it looked good. You felt, if you're a Nebraska fan, you're like, okay, we're feeling a lot better after game one, even though it was still a loss. 1-5 was something you never want to see, but to mount a 3-goal comeback and almost score at the end, you're feeling pretty good about game two. But now you get shut out in game two. You don't have nearly the offensive output that you did. Sarge didn't have any success in his 50 game, and that's kind of the big downfall, Daz, I think, of having to rely on 50-50s to generate consistent offense these days, is because teams are just so good at trapping the ball and pulling it away from you that there's got to be a little bit more mix-up on the offense. I felt like Nebraska didn't go, I won't say they didn't go to that passing game enough. It just felt like they never had the structure to do so.
Yeah, it felt like they, lived and died by the 50.
Yeah.
And that obviously didn't work out. So creating more opportunities and really mixing up the offense, like you said, is definitely a valid thing to do. They'll pick up one. That was honestly the longest kind of juggle I've seen in a minute.
Yeah,
in a Rocket League match. They kept that up for a hot second.
And that was a nice dump from Channels.
Yeah, it was. But
we
move on.
We move on. And
we do.
North Texas might 3-0 here. I think that they are in mean green form. It's hard to bet against this team when they look so solid. On defense especially, where I thought they truly shine. Like, it's not just, catching the ball out, but also hitting every single gap. Like Nebraska, they were diving on offense just to try to keep pace with North Texas on a lot of these opportunities. And you can't dive against this team. Otherwise, you get the scoreline that you do.
Yeah, Nebraska played a pretty solid game, except the fact that, the defense just wasn't as clean as it should have been. There were a couple breakdowns. North Texas did end up stealing some goals away. But, yeah, I feel like for them, just cleaning up these simple touches. And you talk about playing the 50 game. Again, if that doesn't work, then you have to be willing to try some other options. Passing the ball out of your own half. Or also just, playing off that backboard. Anything can work out in their favor. And I think, North Texas would benefit greatly from going in that direction.
Well, they'll start off with a great kickoff and a good initial challenge from Sarge, but that shot was just a little too close to a defender, and the net was pretty well covered. It'd be difficult to get by them, but Nebraska, if they can keep things going, Channel's actually looking in a dangerous spot, but North Texas took a little while to get back to the ball, so Nebraska do get time to get set, but this is where you don't want them to be, our aggro, able to get away, and Chanos will get back to the ball, so Nebraska prevent what could have been an extended stay in offensive territory. Chanos turns on the guns and shoots one right on target.
And you talk about it, bang from Chanos into the top corner and down. Nebraska shake off the rust and get to scoring here to start this game 3 off.
Sometimes all it takes is to score the first goal to flip the brain. Mentality fixed just like that for Nebraska. Sarge slows it down a little bit. Smart approach there by Sarge. And Chanos able to get the ball out to the opposite side, preventing North Texas from a quick counterattack, but the attack will come nonetheless. Aggro barely gets the touch on that ball, was trying to fight off an attacker, and still they're fighting to get this ball away from the box. Too fast right up in front. Lucia right behind him, and the play will be dead for North Texas.
North Texas are able to start this one off with the hot hand, but they have to expand here. I said North Texas, I'm in Nebraska, I'm sorry. But North Texas need to be able to just battle this back. They've done a great job. No! Oh my goodness.
Don't ever do that. If you're watching at home, don't you ever try that. I don't approve of it here. I don't approve of it anywhere. That was absolute nonsense and the luckiest thing I've seen today.
You're upset that Too Fast tried to musty?
No, I'm not saying that. Chanos took the ball away from Too Fast and almost own goal.
Oh yeah, that was scary.
That's what I'm talking about. And then he got saved by his teammate.
That was scary. You gotta be very careful with that. Oh my, but Too Fast still putting on the heat here with this equalizer.
And Daz, listen, don't judge me too hard. I'm all here for the musties, man. Like, if every shot was a musty, I wouldn't be upset. So, too fast, that's not a musty, but it was a good shot. So, well done to tie the game, North Texas.
Yeah. But like you said, Nebraska has to be a little bit careful here. And you can see why. Lucio shot out too fast. Bang! Top corner. Too fast with 2 to take the lead.
Oh, this was immediate disaster off the kickoff. Chanos just got too far under the ball, and Lucia was playing that challenge the whole way. He knew Chanos was beat. He knew exactly where that was going to be. And even if he was wrong, he had a teammate to back up the option. North Texas covering all of them, and Nebraska are feeling a deficit. But Chanos wants it back. He can't get the touch. He had a chance on the angle, but he goes too far above the ball. Now Sarge wants to get something going towards the box. Here's Agro finding Chanos, puts it in front, and everybody waits on Nebraska. Sarge was done waiting and charged forward. Agro too slow, and Chanos forced to retreat and has to buy time for Nebraska. He buys a little, but North Texas still are hunting for the next goal. Sarge, nice catch. Nebraska surviving on defense for now.
Yeah, you know, you're looking at Chanos in these shots. He's gotten some really good looks, but he needs to put a little bit more elbow grease behind that shot. Give him some power to it. He's dropping it right in front of the defense for North Texas. They've been able to clean things up. But if he can put a little bit more speed behind the ball, he can do great things. This time, a little bit of a jumble there between him and Sarge. No one knew who was going. Communication does come out, but D-Bank is going to be up here to set up offense for North Texas. Chance, and Lucio shots miss.
Close one. And North Texas, they haven't been able to completely start Nebraska out on the boost, so Nebraska have been successful enough at clearing a lot of these opportunities, but North Texas don't let Nebraska stay in the orange half for long. And a massive clear that sends the entire North Texas team in retreat. But a solid challenge will give the ball back to North Texas again. So just when you thought that was a solid counterattack for Nebraska, North Texas just steal the ball away with a solid challenge on the back wall. Here's Chanos. He gets over the defender, but no! Can't sink it in.
Unreal. That's got to be frustrating for Chanos. The first long drive he had downfield with the net seemingly open, he had no boost. D-Bank got back in time. He's been set up with so many shot opportunities, but for some reason, whether it's just a slow ball or off the post, he just cannot find it. It's frustrating.
Oh, now Nebraska really trying to put the speed button on this offense. Sarge just a little too late on that on first man, and Agro losing that 50 will put Chanos in damage control. You know, damage control turns into, you know, he is the fixer-upper. He bought so much time for Sarge to rotate back in there. And now Agro can't win a 50 to save his life in the last minute. He's really struggling to try to keep Nebraska up. And he's not the only one struggling in the 50 game for Nebraska, but they're running out of time. With 20 seconds left, and a goal here for North Texas might kill him. Agro picks up a save. D-Bank trying to keep it in the blue half, but he can't. Too fast. Now just trying to play possession. Chanos just spiked it down onto the ground. Nebraska trying to find the structure that will give them the tying goal. Looking for just the ball now. Chanos launches it up off the ceiling. North Texas kills the ball and sweep Nebraska out.
And what do you know? North Texas continue to put on a impressive showing here. Didn't let us down. I think everyone predicted the sweep, and, you know, we came out on top, but so did North Texas here. Did show a little bit of signs of worrisome play, and Nebraska almost took advantage. But, you know, I think for Nebraska, this one hurts because I feel like they had so many close chances, so many opportunities that they could have taken a couple of these games, game 1 and now game 3, where, you know, the shots are just off target, or for whatever reason they get that net wide open and they just can't capitalize enough on it. And, you know, this one got away from them.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska, it felt like North Texas just had a couple more tools in their kit to deal with what Nebraska were giving them, and they were a little faster on the punt, like especially like the first man challenges is something that, like, when Nebraska were winning the first man challenge, that was where their best opportunities came from, but they never really had anything past that. Like the second and third man would always end up retreating, and nobody was able to cover the option where it's like, what if he loses or is late to this ball? Which kept happening for Nebraska, and they never really seemed to adjust to that against North Texas. So North Texas get the clean 3-0 and continue their journey to try to get to the top of the Western Conference. We got one more match set for the day. It's UCSB versus Missouri State. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.